Hi everyone. First of all, thank you so much for joining here today. And I would like to thank a community on ecosystem services for nominating me as a grad student fellow and providing platform for this presentation. So my name is Sadikshya Sharma and I'm a final year master's student of forest resources at Penn State. The presentation today is about part of my thesis that is advised by Dr. Melissa Cry, and I'm very happy to share my recent study results with you. Please feel free to ask questions if you have any. And the title for my thesis is Social Values of Bird Conservation on Private Lands in Pennsylvania. So let's start with the brief introduction of natural ecosystems and their ecosystem services. Natural ecosystems is a community that is the community of living and non-living organisms where each component interacts together as a unit in which through the biological, physical, and chemical processes and interaction. So all the natural ecosystems they exist without the actions of humankind. They don't have influence of human, and they are naturally provided. They are subject to contribute to the human health and well-being. And I will be focusing on the ecosystem services provided by birds since the study is about social value of bird conservation. So you can, for example, you can imagine about the value of pollination services, pest control services, and scavenging services provided by birds. And also, the Millennium Ecosystem Assessment programs have categorized ecosystem services as provisioning, regulating, and supporting and cultural services, where regulating and supporting services comes under ecological services that help in keeping ecosystems healthy, whereas provisioning services comes under production materials that help you to find something that something material or a material like food and fiber from bird ecosystems. And the third last one is cultural services that talk about recreational benefits and conservation benefits. I will be focusing on this part throughout the presentation because because the focus of my study is on cultural services. Here, I want your focus on the first graph, which shows that 29% of North American avifauna lost since 1973. In 1970, that is a huge loss in last 5 decades. And also recent studies and researches have been found that this loss in North America and Canada is because of the habitat change or habitat loss. The reason behind this habitat loss. So also since the private ownership is stimulating habitat fragmentation, I had an interest to design a study that can help those bird species with forest habitat management inside private lands. So I'm focusing on Pennsylvania. The Pennsylvania is the study area because I chose it. It is the home for 70% private forest, and it lies in Atlantic Flyway, which is a destination for migratory birds. And also, I can easily study the conflict between private property ownership and public good provision, where wildlife are the public goods that belongs to everyone, but private forests are the private properties that belong to only few landowners. The common goals, general objective of my study is to understand social values for bird conservation to help inform policies and programs that affect private forest lands. And specifically, I'm examining if the people's belief and values, that is knowledge, perception, and attitudes for bird conservation are drivers of willingness to pay or not. Next, I am talking about estimating willingness to pay for bird-friendly forestry and statewide demand for bird conservation. Here, I used interdisciplinary research approach which has survey development and testing, survey distribution and data analysis. I use interviews to establish research question with stakeholders, private landowners, general public, and conservationists, and all the federal people, most of the federal people working on the same area. And also I developed psychometric tools, that is attitude skill, to develop and measure attitude towards birds harvesting and government involvement in habitat management. And also I used Likert scale and statements to measure the attitudes. To measure the attitudes, and it has 27 statements and in 9 different uh, attitude dimensions. And later I designed a preference question, which is a choice experiment question, which has 5 factors and labels, and each factor four factors have two labels, that is common two labels, and one of the factor has four different labels, giving eight scenarios in total, and those eight scenarios are eight different programs in my choice experiment. The factors are category of benefiting bird, that includes common and rare birds, whereas services is ecological and aesthetic, forest habitat is young versus matured, and landowner assistance program is incentives versus management plan, and the cost to taxpayer is dollars per year. That has four different strategically selected prices, that's 10, 20, 30, and 40. As a result, I came to find out that more than 60% of the people have moderate knowledge about birds, and 30% has high. Next is we found 76% of people have strong risk perception that the bird species and their habitats are in risk in future. And also the next one is we found positive attitude towards the birds, positive attitude towards birds, government involvement and habitat management through harvesting. And next is the mean willingness to pay is 10.62 per year. And the next is we found that we accepted our null hypothesis that people's belief and values are larger drivers of WTP than program attributes. And next, I found attitudes have largest impact on willingness to pay, having higher part worth values. And also I found the role of descriptive statistics in willingness to pay, where age, education, like lower age people, high educated people, high income people, and uh, non-white people are paying more for conservation. And finally, I calculated in the next slide, I calculated statewide demand for bird conservation, which is more than $121, which is more for the conservation. And also the research examines that the benefit provided by bird conservation programs exceeds the cost of program implementation. So programs are efficient and effective to enhance the public welfare. So it's worth to invest in bird conservation programs. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you so much. That was a great presentation. We've got some questions coming in for you. Okay. So one specific question we got was, did your research on private lands conservation include farmlands like crop and dairy lands?
No, most of the respondents were from they were having the private forest, and also the general public people. We also hear from people, and also we hear from farmers and the people with lands. So they are apart, but I don't think like they're not only the whole population, whole sample. They're also part of the research. Yeah.
Great. And we got a question on who did you work with at Penn State to develop your choice survey?
I worked with my advisor, Dr. Melissa Cry, and also I also worked with my committee, and one of the committee members is from Department of Agriculture Economics, is Dr. Deep, and also I worked with Dr. Margaret Bedingham, is from Habitat Management, like especially for birds, and we. And in addition to this, I also took some consultations from experts, and also worked with literature review, and also to design the questions and design the attributes. I talked to some people from people, stakeholders like federal person, public, private landowners, and so on.
Okay, great. Thank you. And can you comment on how you think this might translate to other states, or what it means for, willingness to pay in other areas for bird conservation?
Yeah, we can translate, like if we can use the same, we can use benefit transfer method to translate the same kind of research in other areas. Also, most of the places or the areas with privately owned area, like private forest owned area, we can the transfer will be of more worth, or it's more valuable, and we can use benefit transfer to translate the research and work for the new research in the areas, in the same similar area inside the country, or even outside country, or globally.
Great. Thank you for joining us today so much and presenting your research.
Okay, thank you.